Everybody, I will now call the meeting to order. Jennifer, could you do roll call, please?
Tom McDonald, Len Tuteeth,
Here.
Jennifer Finley, here, Jim Molitor,
Here.
Carol Langford, Harry Pitts, Bing Matt, Ellie Bundy, Martin Charlo,
Present.
Mike Dawson,
I'm here.
James Steele Senior.
All right, thank you, Jen. I will, start us out with a prayer. Grandfather, today we give thanks for today. We ask that you be with us today as we do our work for the people today. Grandfather, we pray for our people, our ones that are out there struggling with addiction, the ones that have lost loved ones, the ones that are homeless, the ones that are just struggling with mental issues. Today we ask that you help us help them, show us them. And Grandfather, we want to give thanks for the blessings that you continue to give us every day. Being able to get up in the morning every day is a blessing. And we're so grateful. We're so grateful for the beautiful valley that you put us in, and we're able to reside here every day and enjoy the beauty that you've given us. But today I ask you all this in the Creator's name. Amen. All right, thank you. I believe we have a set of minutes. So you're gonna see the date on those. September 26th, I'm being told. Seem to find them. When were they mailed out? Oh, I got them. I can't even find the minutes. Last Tuesday. Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Martin to approve the minutes with corrections. Second by Mike. Any further questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed, same. 2 abstentions, Jennifer and Ellie. Motion carries. Okay, let's take a look at the agenda for today. Any additions to the agenda, Jennifer?
Yes, 3 walk-ins. And I'll
Okay.
be ready for whenever I'll tell you which one. I gave you the list of the order.
Okay, can you, have, Whisper join us on the first issue,
Okay.
She's probably at the roundup,
roundup?
bison range.
I can have Cease Brown join.
Who?
She's the permit agent. Cease Brown.
Okay,
It would be her issue that would be working with this.
oh, okay,
And it's on your page 3. If it's in the rules and regulations.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve the agenda with any additions?
okay, motion by Ellie to approve today's agenda with additions. Second by Martin. And Martin is going to provide an update. Second by Martin. All in favor? Opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay, let's start with our walk-ins. Do we have any of them which ones are open and which ones are in executive?
Kelly's and Christine and Bob's would be an open. I think Gina's will be an executive and so will Nathan's.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with the Woodcock family. Good morning, X-Flex. Can you use your mic, please? Yep.
That button? There you go. Well, good morning. My name is Kelly O'Benick. This is my husband, Robert Woodcock, our daughter, Christine Woodcock. So recently, we all attended the bison orientation class. My daughter is an avid hunter. She's gotten deer, recently got her first elk. She has attended the bison orientation class. We got permits. We want to go down and shoot a buffalo. We only need 1 buffalo for our family because there's only 3 of us. But Christine wants to shoot it. And I decided that I was gonna let her shoot one of my tags, but I don't think that's legal and I don't think I can do that. So then I read the bison regulations, and the regulations state that if a tribal member wants a bison permit, they have to come before council. So that is the reason why we are here today.
Okay.
And I will let her ask you guys.
Yes,
about-
please do. Good morning.
Oh, it's pushed. She's good.
Oh my God. Anyways, my name's Christine Woodcock.
Ask them.
Anyways, Hakana Kuishu Ukwekwais Minton Kamin. Isho.
No, translate it for me.
I am asking you guys if I could go shoot a buffalo. Go shoot a buffalo. Go get a buffalo tag. Yeah.
She's a little bit shy. Once you guys get to know her, though, you guys can't get her to shut up.
And
No,
Cease is on as well.
Who? Oh, okay.
Permit agent.
Well, first, let me start by saying, Christine, thank you for coming in this morning. Thank you all for coming in this morning. And I have been watching a lot of the pictures that you guys have posted with the hunts with your dad, and they're very, very impressive. I'm very impressed with you. You've come a long way since you were a little girl, and then to watch you become an entrepreneur. I've seen you do that. It's just very, very neat to watch you how you raised your daughter. I mean, it's just very, very, very good to see. I just always been very impressed with that. And especially Bob spending a lot of times with her in outdoors and showing her the proper ways to hunt and everything. Yeah, that's just really, phenomenal that you guys really spend a lot of good time with your daughter and teach her the traditional ways of how hunting, should be conducted. And so very impressed with that, but any, questions or comments? Yes, Ellie?
I just have a comment. I just want to commend you. I'm so happy to see you in here today asking to do this. I'm a hunter too. Love it. And I love when we have young females wanting to take on hunting, and I hope you post pictures on Mom's Facebook and we get to see it when you're done. So good luck.
Okay. Carol?
Yeah, you've been taught by the best, and I just want to let you know if you went through the class, you understand all the rules, and it's important to make sure that you follow those. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything, but some people get down there and they don't follow the rules, and it gets the tribe in trouble. So we want to make sure that, you know, you're up on all of that. But I think make the motion, Mr. Chair, to allow her to, I'm not sure the specific language, if it's allow her or allow her to use her mom's permit. Steve, do you
Okay.
have, you know, where is
Oh,
it?
well, let me get Cease
I
on.
don't have it on.
Cease, are you there?
To come up.
Good morning, Cease. Can you hear us? She's there, but she can't see us. Good morning, Cease.
No?
Okay. Cease, we had a question this morning in regards to issuing a permit to an underage tribal member. And, so it was our understanding that, that a permit can be issued if approved by the council. Is that correct?
So, Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
am reading the regulations, and it says that she gets her own permit, so that would be the motion. is
Okay,
to authorize a permit for
motion to
Christine
issue a
Woodcock.
Yellowstone bison treaty hunt permit to Christine Woodcock, second by Ellie. Any further questions, comments? I just have one quick comment here, before we approve this. And once again, I just want to thank you all for approaching council on this issue. And I want to explain to Christine that this is a very important, treaty right for our people. And so it feels really good to start allowing our underage youth to participate and and that they understand that what our people have gone through in the past to make sure that we were allowed this right. So it's just so very, very good to see you step forward, and I really am proud of you. And I just know that you guys will all be successful, and it's always good family time up there when you're up there to spend the week together. And but I just it's just very good to see that our youth are starting to participate in this. So thank you for stepping up. Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Mike has a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Christine, can you come back and tell us about your hunt when you do it, after you've done it? I'd like that.
And pictures. We want pictures too. Okay. Okay, all in favor? Opposed, same? Motion carries. All right, congratulations, young lady.
Glimpse, you guys. Thank you.
Okay, lem.
Good luck.
Now we
Okay,
have
next on the agenda.
Gina in executive, and I also have John Wheeler on as well. Mike Wheeler.
Okay, ladies, want to come on up? Good morning, Gina. Good morning, Louise. Good to see you again. Okay, what was next on the agenda?
Abby.
Okay, good morning, Abby.
Morning, Tribal Council. August 29th, the Tribal Council interviewed and selected Kelly McDonald to fill the Chief Justice of the Appellate Court vacancy for a 4-year term. So I just need approval of her contract and resolution. And her swearing in will be scheduled for a later date when she's available.
Okay, very good. Entertain a motion to approve the contract for judicial services for Kelly McDonald. Motion by Jimmy, second by Jennifer. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, Abby.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and the next on the agenda.
Greg Spar.
Good morning, Mr. Gregg.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chairman and members of council. So the two items that I'm bringing forward can come in, I believe, reverse order. The second item here is the request for council to approve the memo or the MOA, creating a subrecipient agreement with SCAHA.
Okay, we have a motion by Carol to approve. And second by Ellie. Questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed, same. All right, motion carries.
Thank you all. The second issue is the resolution that we discussed in the chairman's meeting. I've invited John Carter to be part of the discussion. If council would like to invite him on and to discuss that in executive, I'm happy to entertain that discussion with you.
Okay, we'll go out of regular session into executive. By Carol to have a motion by Carol to approve the resolution as presented. Is there a second? Second by Mike. Any further discussion, comments, questions? All in favor? Oppose? I oppose. Motion carries.
Thank you for your time, ladies
Okay,
and gentlemen.
all right, thank you.
Good to
Okay.
see you, John, thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry it was under such unfortunate circumstances.
Hey,
John,
John.
thank you.
good- Yeah, John, thank you, and it's good to see you again.
You too. I'll be up there pretty soon with the final enactment for the Tribal Administrative Procedures Ordinance. I thought I was going to be on this week, but it turns out there's no council Thursday. So
All right, look forward to
see
it,
you.
John.
see you soon. I do too. Thank you all. Bye.
Yep, we'll see you, John. Okay, next item.
Mark Simpson.
Good morning.
I'm here today to present modification 2 to contract 21-227, which is a contract with McMillan Engineering for the North Fork Jocko. They were contracted to replace the existing diversion structure on the North Fork, built in the mid-20s. The structure is old, dilapidated, and has no fish passage to it. This modification is due to adding some work that was outside of the original contract. They have come up with a preliminary design and had the design at 30%, and we're moving forward with it. Upon review of the design by the CSKT team, we decided to pull that back a little bit and review what we could do differently to improve the site. Their proposal was large and there was a lot of disturbance to the area. So we came up with a different plan and are trying to proceed forward with consolidating the replacement structure. The modification to what they had come up with will reduce the footprint in the North Fork area. It'll improve the constructability of the new structure. There'll be less concrete that has to be hauled on site, and that is a very remote location to try to get concrete trucks. And with the new proposed design that we talked to them about, we're going to try to make use of precast sections of concrete to be able to just haul up there rather than getting ready mix trucks and having it poured on site. And with our review and new proposal, it gets us away from the big cut slope on the north edge of the road there. A little bit worried about disturbance to that cut slope and having a failure due to us cutting into it. And with some of the designs of the structures, not only at the North Fork, but in other areas, there's been a, I don't want to say misunderstanding, but a hard to interpret what is being proposed. So we would like McMillan to design us a 3D model of the proposed structure in Revit so that the CSKT team, McMillan themselves, and the future contractor will be able to better understand what is being proposed, to be able to see it in 3D and be able to pull sections of that model apart to see how it affects such things as the cut slope, the river, things like that. And also, as part of this modification, we're going to have McMillan look at some geotechnical design to try to stabilize the cut slope around that north edge there, so we can hopefully prevent any future failure or disturbance to that whole area. It's kind of a dangerous thing to be digging into cut slope there with that 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1 slope right there. It's going to be a multi-million-dollar structure, and we really don't want the hillside to come down on it. So they're going to investigate what they can do and what we can do as we build this structure to prevent any sort of failure of that hillside.
Okay, question. So with a large modification of a project like this, do we have somebody on our staff that actually that'll inspect this project and making sure that they are compliant with the job, with the contract, and let's see, what else am I looking for here? Yeah, just to making sure that somebody's overseeing the contract and that they are compliant.
So, with these modifications and everything, they do provide we provide them with a what we expect checklist of deliverable items.
Okay,
And the team, myself and Seth Makepeace and others involved in each of these projects make sure that these items that are promised to be delivered do get delivered.
okay, and since they're designing this, do we have language in our contract to say that if it fails sometime down the road, that they're coming back and they're gonna fix this?
That one I cannot speak to. Usually before anything is ever stamped and signed off by an engineer, it will have been reviewed by other engineers within the firm. And if an engineer signs off on it, it is technically that they have done all the calculations and figures, and by signing it, they're giving it their approval that this is safe. And in the future, if the structure, like they signed off on the structure, said it was completely safe, if the structure failed due to an engineering discrepancy, it falls back on the signature of the engineer of
Okay,
record.
and that's what the bonds,
Yes.
their bonds are used for.
Yes.
Correct. Okay,
So this modification would add $117,893 to the existing contract. So the new total not to exceed would be $1,273,814.
okay. And they will also be complying with our Indian Preference Office,
Yes, sir.
making sure that we have tribal members working on the project also.
Yes, sir.
All right. If we can get periodic reports on that, I think that would be good. If you could even coordinate that with the Indian Preference Office, saying that we have this project going and this is how many tribal members we have working there and things like that. It would be good to know.
Yeah.
Yes, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Mark, I'm just wondering how we ended up with an original design that's so far out of shape, we gotta redesign it.
It's not that it was out of shape or anything. So this design includes fish screens from Farmers Conservation Alliance. They are a flat plate screen. They take up more room than other traditional methods, but they're safer for fish. And with the volume of water that the diversion takes on right there, it requires 4 fish screens. So originally, due to the constrictions of the size of that area, excuse me, we had them spread out. So 2 would be in the canal and 2 were up at the diversion point itself. And it created kind of a problem because there would be 2 sets of concrete box culverts connecting everything. So what we went up there and looked at was taking this set up here and moving all 4 into the canal itself to get rid of a lot of that work in that small area. So they originally, looked at it and the size of everything they had and decided that would be maybe better to have them spread apart. But as we came together as a team and went and reviewed it, we decided that it would be a less of a footprint and less impact if we had them all in one area.
Yes, Carol.
So in the future, to mitigate for situations like this, do you plan on requesting 3D models? Or it seems like normally in this situation, there would be 3D models.
Depends on the structure. Some of the structures are a lot less complicated than this. The Jocko K structure is one where it would have been more helpful to have a 3D model of it, and that is why on this one, we decided that would be a good thing to have, for a better understanding. I mean, you pick up this piece of paper and you look at the design and it has dimensions, but most people can't just look at this flat piece of paper and visualize it. Versus if you have a 3D model of it, now it becomes really apparent, the size of the structure.
Yeah, and it probably doesn't seem that expensive to, you know, an engineer or whatever, but to me, you know, you look, wow, that's a lot of money, but
For what you get out of
understand the safety of it, you need to do it.
it is well worth the money.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Mark, in the future, when we're presenting these types of projects, I think it would be really beneficial to the council if you, at some point in time, you provide before and after pictures.
Okay.
So it gives us a better idea of what we paid for our money.
Yeah, I can do that without a problem.
Yeah, I think that would be very helpful to us. So,
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract. Motion by Mike, second by Bing. Question, comments? Rob?
One of the earlier projects under doers was the Jocko K Headworks. And if you write this down, I'll give you a website, CSKTwatercompact.com. You'll see a website that has a section called projects, and you can go there and see photos, some details. But I point out this one because there's a story map, which means it's a GIS tool that kind of is a flyover what it looks like, and you can see photos of its construction of a past project, not this one. But have directed our GIS employee, Luja Fixico, to create those for each of these projects, just for what you said, to give a sense of what it was before and what you're getting for the investment. And I think you'll find it interesting, and there'll be more coming.
Okay, thank you for that, Rob. I appreciate that. CSKTwatercompact.com. All in favor? Opposed, same? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Mark.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, moving right along.
We need to go into executive.
Okay. We will go out of regular session. All right, well. Okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Morning, council. Thank you for giving us some time today. You've been busy. We got a few Sharon, Jen, sorry. We got a few guests today with Kootenai National Forest. I'll just turn it over with the discussion today we want to have is the Libby Mine exploration permit proposal that came through across a few months back. We made comments on them, and with our working relationship with Kootenai National Forest, they wanted to make sure they came here and heard our issues, concerns with the proposal during for direct consultation with us during this review of the process. So,
okay. Tony, does including both elders committees going to be part of that process also?
Yeah, so I got Vernon was going to be here today. I got Sadie here, the director of SQCC. Vernon was going to be here today. He ended up having a root canal, emergency root canal. So hopefully, hopefully he's feeling better tomorrow after that. So he was going to be here also. So I do have some staff members here also from Natural Resource Preservation and Salish Culture Committee, to be part of the discussion or, help lead some comments if needed.
Okay, very good.
So I'll ask, Chad to give our introduction, I guess. Chad, everybody, I think a lot of you guys know Chad. And then Heidi also, with Kootenai National Forest. I'd like them to give a kind of an overview of the project proposal and then kind of the intent of their letter requesting a consultation with us.
All right. Well, good afternoon. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Won't try to get too loud. So good afternoon, Tribal Council, Chad Benson. I'm the Forest Supervisor on the Kootenai National Forest. I showed up in 18 for a bit doing a detail, and that's when I first got privy to this project. I think at the time it was called the Rock Creek Mine.
Okay.
And was promptly readjusted on the lawsuit to have my name proudly put on the front of that lawsuit, which I use that term loosely because I know it's been a source of contention and work for a long time with the back and forth on proposals. As folks may or may not remember, that first proposal had work and adits coming from two different sides of the Cabinet Wilderness, one from the Trout Creek, Montana side, and one from outside of Libby, referring to the existing Libby adit, which has been in the works. I think the paperwork we submitted to you mentioned it being in somewhere around 1989, where they did a majority of that exploration, driving that vertical adit on the Montanore side, the Libby side, for roughly 14,000 feet. So what I wanted to do today is two parts. Make sure that we can answer any questions that may be out there on what this is, but then also talk about what this is, because I do feel it's different. In no way, shape, or form want to paint this as we're here as proponents or opponents, mostly because that's not my job to do. We have to accept these as part of our federal regulations for subsurface mineral rights that people are able to acquire under the federal government. And part of the process is then taking plans of operations and either approving them, denying them with remand for rework if it does not follow the environmental laws that we have set up for that. The original proposal that we received almost a year ago on this now called Libby Exploration Project from the company is called, the main parent company is called Hecla, but then has formed a subsidiary called MCC, which then, and also changed the name to Libby Exploration rather than Montanore. The reason behind that isn't to try to make it, put different kind of lipstick on it. It mostly was to just show that it is a different operation, not under the main body of the original process of Rock Creek and Montanore, both added tunneling to meet each other underneath the wilderness. One of the things that came from the original lawsuits for years is that this perpetual and spending lots of taxpayer dollars of just perpetual environmental analysis, which when we started talking, we talked about, well, what does it look like to actually do the exploration you need to see if this is a go or no go? What do you need for info to actually make this something that's a doable project? And that's where this then started moving forward about, well, let's do some exploration under as much as we can under the existing adit system. Obviously, they have to do some lateral drilling and bisecting to get into the current drift, but then really seeing what they have with live analysis, core drills, and get that analysis done to see if it's worth going to that next step of a larger build out, larger mine. The minerals that they still seek to do testing on are gold and copper. And their current proposal has them going down into that 14,000 foot drift. They're going to pull back about 400 feet, and then they will laterally drill up to the mineralization vein, and then start doing core drills and bisecting that to get the assay work done to decide what and if this is worth for future development. I know one of the biggest issues off the front end, and a concern of ours as well as the managing agency, has been water. And I can assure the things that we've seen with the geotechnical reports that they are actually spending a lot of time and mindfulness trying to make sure that they are being as least impactful to those water resources as possible. But at the end of the day, we all know there's water that will and has to be dealt with. I think they've been running that water system for, I don't know if you remember, for upwards of probably 20 years. A water system that is in place that they currently dewater that at it just for hopes of being able to get in there in the future. So there is a fair bit of infrastructure already in place, with a majority of all these operations happening on their private property. The only thing that we are analyzing as the federal government and with the state of Montana are the water resources for what comes out of the mine, making sure it's clean, and then the geotechnical geomorphology that comes with the water systems and the bisections of water systems. One of the things that they do talk about in their document is maintaining a certain depth and distance away from subsurface or the surface level, mainly for a lake called Rock Creek, and not bisecting anything upwards to I think 1,000 feet from the subsurface of Rock Creek. But that's some of the analysis that's still going on with some of their geology and geomorphologic analysis that we're still waiting on.
Chad, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do the representatives from the mining company have any intention or planning on coming in and visiting with the tribes directly?
So we talked about that being an option, and we agreed that probably this scenario with us as the managing body being the first crack at this. I offered to bring representatives from the company to come to this forum, and I can't remember if that was something that we decided on. I think it was, or with. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. So thanks, Tony. One of the original thoughts was trying to bring the Kootenai Tribe of Idaho representation into this forum as well, and having a real good sit down and talk about this. And we decided that we probably better maybe start with this level first, all knowing they're willing to come if you would like that. I should back up to the other piece to that is we are doing very little of the analysis as the Forest Service. We told them we didn't have the capacity, and so they've been using a third-party contractor to like an engineering firm to put all this together.
Okay, I think it's very important that these representatives come and visit with the tribes. You know, just knowing that the damage and potential destruction that they're having on our Aboriginal grounds, they need to be in the same room with us, looking us in the eye, telling us that they're going to try to do this in a safe way, in a safe environmental way. And it's just good. It's just a part of good faith consultation. But I think it's very important that they show themselves in front of us.
Yep. And Vice Chair, I think they would welcome that opportunity if we can make that happen after today, kind of see where we're at. Be happy to arrange that and do this again.
All right.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, Carol.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious for my own self. The aquifer, you said they're mining underground. So does the aquifer exist above it or below it, or is there even aquifers in this area?
To my knowledge, they have been dewatering for years, so there is interception with groundwater. The capacity being somewhere around, or built up for somewhere around 500 gallons per minute, and they currently pump out like 30 to maintain. And so there isn't that's not a big number, but they are prepared for, as they start drilling, to be able to handle more water. But I think that is the little bit of the work that they're doing right now is twofold, is to be able to see what those ground systems are, as well as obviously the morphology of the rock systems. With that, knowing that you could intercept water, but I think the 14,000 foot adit they have down there right now gives them a pretty good idea of where they start running into that water. Hence the pulling up 400 feet from the bottom of that before they start their lateral upward. They must know something that they aren't going to just run into the main water.
I'm just curious.
But, no, it is. And it has been one of the biggest questions is what is going to be intercepted with water.
Thank you.
But back to Vice Chairman's point, it'd be nice to hear from them when they
Yes,
get that
also,
report done.
and just to get a better understanding of the process, has the exploratory permit already been approved?
So they do have a permit in place. I do not know the whole scope of what the permit is from the state of Montana. That's the who holds that permit. I do know that last week it was brought through the state channels as well as public comment to almost double the bond that they currently have in place. And so they wouldn't have a bond if they didn't have a permit, which leads me to believe that the permit they have is for a substantial amount of acreage than that surface acreage that they're actually going to be on. We have not permitted anything. That's
Okay,
the
so-
process. The process we're at called NEPA allows, if we get through this and we sign it, I sign a decision for them to start. That is the avenue for them to start working under the federal part. Once they get all the state permits, they need a Montana DEQ water quality permit and a state operating permit.
Before they can actually start
And I think they do have
the mine
possibly
operation?
factions of both of those already in place from future, since they have been pumping water for so long. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is to me, it was always, it's kind of a confusing situation. The state permitted, allowed a permit, and I think the permit was for 219 acres. And so that gave them the rights on the private property and exploration permits. What the Kootenai National Forest is concerned with is the mining that's gonna take place actually underneath the federal ground. So the mine is gonna be below private ground. The operation will consist on private ground, but the mining will branch off and go underneath federal ground. And so this is where it involves federal managers, NEPA process, and this is where then we have the chance to comment on. So pulled up on your screen is kind of the executive summary. And if you see it right to the bullet points here, a lot of the activity will be, it's either beneath or on private ground. The first bullet point is the portion that's going to be underground, but actually underneath Kootenai National Forest. The rest of the activities are going to be housed on the private ground that's associated next door to the Kootenai National Forest. You got that map up, Jen, too? Okay. The next one, the other one. Yeah, sorry. So the main concern that we've brought forward before was a few points. Obviously, the water issue. It's right next to Libby Creek, correct? Libby Creek, which is also a tributary for bull trout. We have issues and hunting and treaty rights within that area that we are accustomed to fishing, hunting, and gathering. So we brought the point up that obviously we want to see that waterway protected, the fish species protected. We also brought up points of this is Aboriginal territory. This is ground held in trust by the feds.
Okay, Tony, before we go any further, just to get an understanding of the geographical location, is this the area between Libby going to Eureka, or is it between Libby and Troy?
Libby and Kalispell.
Libby,
It's,
okay,
yep, Libby and Kalispell. So as you leave Libby going towards Kalispell, it's probably 5 miles out of Libby.
Right, and then probably another 10 miles up, kind of at the base of the Cabinet Range that you see when you're coming into Libby from Kalispell. So it'd be as you're coming from Kalispell, it'll be on the left-hand side, looking up towards the Cabinet.
where they
Wilderness.
just finished the recent road construction, just right in that area then?
I didn't.
Where they just finished the recent road construction just outside
Yeah,
of Libby?
Little,
Right.
little bit more towards Libby, but yep, kind of up off that
Okay.
left-hand side, yep.
So as you see here, this is the footprint of the private ground where the activity of the mine's actually going to be on the surface. The other portion of it's gonna be down below here and then northwest, correct? The drilling will be down and then into the Forest Service, which is above the road. The road is currently a Forest Service road. So we have concerns of, Aboriginal territory, treaty rights, hunting, fishing, protection of the waterways. We have concerns, the other big concern is we have currently, bad actor litigation, with the parent company of this mine. Of Hecla, yeah. And I know, as Chad explained, Hecla's changed the name to a few different times, to try to show separation. But the parent operator of the mining operation themselves is still attached to all three different name changes. And that's another point that we brought up, that if this is in litigation, that this project, we wouldn't want to see this project proposed or go through until that litigation is finalized. And we just discussed that. I'm not sure exactly at what point, or an update on that. I was hoping Chelsea was on today. Yeah, she's on today, if she can hear me. If she knows, any update on that, where that's at in the process.
Yeah, there was a small update that was given to us earlier, so yeah.
Yeah, there's a number of motions to dismiss from the Hecla subsidiaries. We're moving to join them, or join Hecla and Phillips Baker to our case directly. But the Hecla subsidiaries are moving to dismiss the case and move to summary judgment, and we're moving to amend our case and add 2 new defendants. And the judge has scheduled oral argument for all of those motions in December 15th. So I don't think that everything will be decided by then, but we are moving forward. The case is sort of definitely moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Chelsea.
Thanks, Chelsea. And of course, my own personal big concern is the exploration project could only lead, one of 2 avenues, a development or non-development of a mining operation or future mining operation, which could then in turn be more detrimental to the environment, or the resources there, or the opportunity for our tribe to exercise our treaty rights in that particular area.
Okay.
And I would also want to invite or give an opportunity for any of the staff member here, if they had any additional comments that support their program or department's work in this area, or developments of our letter previously.
Okay. Well, I guess the question or the thoughts that I have sitting here is, do we already know if the permit's gonna be approved? If it's already gonna be approved and we're just going through the song and dance here, just to say that we have it on, that we have it documented, that we met with the tribes and this is what their concern was, and this and that. I don't know. I mean, is that where we're at? Is there a potential chance for in our comment period here to say, no, we do not want mining here. Find another spot, but not here. This is too close to what's going on in Elk River. Elk River is, we're starting to see the impacts here in our Aboriginal ground now, and it's serious. And now just over the mountain range, we have this proposal. So those are just my initial thoughts. I mean, I didn't know if this is the venue to actually just report back, you could just report back and say, no, the tribes are strongly opposed to this.
Well, my initial reaction to that would be, I think the proponent would be naive to not know that the tribe is opposed to this. I think their attempt to try to mitigate concerns is still there, by all accounts. As far as process, nothing's finalized. Until this gets through final signature and is cleared of any court issues, if we have those, then it is where it is. I think having the proponent come in and explain and talk about the concerns is wise and available. I know they've offered that. I would be, I guess, just cautious that there's a few things that are hard on our end as the federal, which is, and Tony talked about this as being a large piece of private property that most of the operation is on. Our management of their legal subsurface claims, as well as the only other piece that really has the federal piece to be able to manage is the road access. So we don't have a lot in the skin, except for the approval, which is a lot. And that is the process we're working through right now to be able to be involved. And if mitigations can't be taken care of through our process, and that's why the legal option is always there.
Any comments or questions from council? Okay. Carol? So what's gonna be the next step?
If council would like, I would entertain, inviting, the proposees to come and visit and really in depth of their proposal and what type of mitigations, they're proposing to exercise here, or control measures, and Q&A, I guess, of what their intentions or what possibilities this could grow into. And hear and have a more face-to-face to hear, our cultural and resource concerns with their potential expansion.
Okay. I like that idea. I think that's important that we get both elder and culture committees together and have them present the project, and because the owners of that mining company need to hear from our elders. Yeah, and I think it's extremely important. So Tony, if you can coordinate that, perhaps maybe we can have a venue over at Quatuknuk and get that set up here sooner than later. So what are the timeframes on the project are we looking at here?
Most of the work that's been at task right now is the water and geomorphologic analysis. Has taken a while. I will say they've been pretty diligent and mindful. We've run it through our national office as well, making sure that the I's and T's are crossed. Assuming they get through that, the other next step would be putting in a biological assessment to the Fish and Wildlife Service on species. But as we've talked, their desires to and even work outside of grizzly bear issues, most of the work is underground or on private property. They feel that they've mitigated the grizzly bear issues. Tony mentioned the bull trout. That's the other one that's on our mind about the water quality. And I think it is good to hear from them about what's different this time and what are those mitigations that are going to be in place to assure that you're not doing anything detrimental to the systems. And that's not our number one goal as well. So you get through that, once they submit a biological assessment, I think the service has roughly, is it 120 days to get through that assessment. And then once we have that, barring no terms and conditions that we can't mitigate, then it would be available after public comment on the draft proposal. It would be ready for decision. You put that all into a bucket, you're probably talking 4 to 6 months.
Oh, wow.
maybe knowing that this is, again, when we talked originally, when they've pared back where they have, there's nothing going on the Rock Creek side. Most of the adit originally there, other than the new proposal, water systems in place, they feel that they have mitigation measures with what they want to put in. It doesn't give us a lot of free, we're not really analyzing that much. So that's why it's probably a little bit more of a quicker time frame than you, I assume that your, oh wow, was that's fast?
Yes,
Yes,
it's
okay.
really fast, because I
Yeah.
was looking at maybe 2, maybe 3 years max
Yeah.
before they can actually start moving dirt.
Right.
And one of the other concern I have is, do they take the cumulative effects of what's happening in Elk River within their biological opinion or biological assessment?
You know,
Is
I
that
would,
included?
yeah, I wouldn't be able to answer that. I mean, when you look at the scale and the size of the operations and the demographic distance, I'm not sure that effect would really play into that far down of what we're analyzing for the discharge that they're thinking about.
Because it's in the same region.
But I think
you
that's
know.
a great question to ask them.
Okay.
Yep. The other piece that I didn't really, Vice Chairman, is the state processes of permitting and water quality. It's a piece of the process that I don't manage, that may have some time frame associated with that is not calculated in that time frame.
Okay.
Yep.
Chair.
Yes, Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. My concern is once they get involved and started, what keeps them from expanding? You know, once they get in there and this is productive and they're looking good at the beginning, but what keeps them from going? I'm sure there's a lot of federal land adjacent that they could expand to. Once they get in there, it might be easier for you guys or to say, well, they've performed and they've done well the way they've showed the way it is now, but 10, 15 years down the road, it may quadruple in size and have larger impacts. So I don't know if there'd be any protection or guarantee control of that.
Thanks for the question, Mr. Pitts. I would say, so here's how the process looks. They pared this back, all well knowing that their 4 to 5 years of exploration to build the assay work that gives them the information on a build out, then would be put back into the hopper and informed for a complete, I would assume, environmental impact statement. So back to that same process that was litigated the past time around, the large EIS, they would be required to go through that whole analysis. And so it would be basically back to ground zero with more information at hand.
Okay.
If
Jimmy.
does that?
Thank you.
Jimmy has a comment.
Yeah, on the same question that Councilman Pitts was talking about, you know, even if you go back to ground zero and you start all over, if that's more development, it just adds more to the same effect that's gonna happen to water, fisheries, all of that. Sediment, whatever, no matter what the size of the scale of the mine is. Look at Elk River, look at all the damage it's done to fish, sediment, water, all that, it affects the wildlife. Even on a smaller scale, it's gonna affect the water. I mean, I'm just not for it. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Jimmy. Any other comments? Yes, Kevin. Kevin, could you come up to the speaker or to the microphone, please? There's one right there behind you by Jennifer.
Hey, before Kevin comments, Terry, did that answer your question? Well, what I was thinking is if they don't listen to us now, and once they get started, they're gonna say, well, we're not gonna even worry about the tribe. We're gonna go ahead and meet with the Forest Service and federal, move right ahead. And I don't know, kind of what Vice Chairman mentioned, we're just kind of going through a procedure here to make it check a box. But then we go ahead and we move forward, or they're going to move forward, and then they're not going to come back, and we're not going to have be in a position of power. And I agree with Jimmy. I can't support this. Yeah, and I wanted to just make sure that you guys understood the process is this exploration permit is underground, least impactful to the resources currently. My concern is one or the other, that if they do find something, then they would start an EIS process, which is a significantly large process, a lot larger than we do for our timber sales, which is an EA process, environmental assessment process. This would be an environmental impact statement, knowing that the project itself, you have to display, you have to find out and mitigate every impact you would have on the resources surrounding the project. So there will be significant impact. We know that, we understand that mines have significant impacts. And they would have to do an environmental statement saying how they would reduce or mitigate those impacts to the environment, which we would have a significant time to be able to display our concerns, and hopefully with Chad and the Kootenai National Forest help negotiate those mitigations or that allowance of size and impact that they propose.
Okay.
But that's my, in order for that worst case scenario in my mind to see is I'm concerned with this is what if they do find something in significant amounts that pushes the entire company's efforts to develop. And we've seen this company be able to develop in a lot of places.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Kevin, you have a comment?
Thank you for letting me come up here. And hi, Chad. Hi, Heidi. From the preservation standpoint, we do have a major cultural resource site that is located right over the hill from that zone that I seen. I did a little spatial analysis on my phone. And what from the cultural resources side, we can make a statement, and we would love to run this by both cultural committees so they know. And the rock formation it's a highly spiritual one which we had to really work pretty close with MDOT when they did do part of that little highway. There's some expansion there. And Loretta Stevens, we do have an interview with her talking about some of those, the identity part of for Sunka culture that has to do with that rock formation, which is three, looks like three stalactites, three large rocks sticking straight up out of a ridge. Now, if there are some exploratory work done, I know sometimes that includes some kind of blasting or whatever, if the mine actually expands, and it would be detrimental to cultural resources. Not only that, but our identity as we use sites there quite often. Quite a bit of folks from our tribe go over to Kootenai Falls, but also visit a large amount of these sites that are like that.
Okay.
Not just pictographs, but also rock formations. So from our preservation side, we can make a statement and attach that research to those, and maybe we can email that out so you're all aware of that. But it is one site that was identified by Pat Left Hand back when he was on council and working within some of the realm of the proposed dam that was happening right at Kootenai Falls in those days. I think it was late 80s, early 90s. But I just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
And let you know that we'll be busy putting that research together. So you can check it.
All right, well, Kevin, thank you. I appreciate you coming forward and bringing that information out there. We will definitely make sure that information is acknowledged throughout this process. So thank you. We'll be looking forward to seeing the response from the preservation office.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So Tony, or Chad, has there been and I'm not sure about what kind of reports these types of proposed mining operations do, but do they have feasibility studies thinking, I mean, acknowledging the types of materials that they're gonna be going after and the potential revenue that they may
Yeah, I haven't
acquire?
received anything on revenue estimates. I mean, I'm sure the proponents in there, they have a lot of info on that, but the mineralization that they're going after with this exploration would be copper and gold.
Okay,
And I think there might be a byproduct of silver, but I think that would be the byproduct, but those are the big three.
okay, thank you, Chad.
Yep.
Yes, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I hear gold mining, silver mining, and I think of all the things that have happened from Butte to Anaconda to Idaho, down the whole valley through there, Pegasus and Fort Belknap. How's this gonna be different? That's the question I have for them.
Yep, and I think that's a question we're all asking. We get the experts, and have they changed methodology and engineering to give enough comfort to the people? And I guess that's the question that we're after. Yep.
Okay, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Last week, I went to a transboundary mining conference in Canada. You know, going over the environmental and cultural destruction that mining has caused in Canada that's affecting us down here. And there was a presentation by this company, this organization called IRMA. It's the Initiative for Responsible Mining Assurance. And they're an independent organization that assesses mines all over the world and makes recommendations for environmentally responsible mining. And I think participation in their assessment is voluntary. But if for some reason this goes forward, despite what we're saying or our opposition to it, can they be required maybe to go through an IRMA assessment and at least give us a report on what recommendations would be for responsible mining? Because right now there doesn't seem to be any, you know, what's going on in Canada is not responsible mining. But according to this organization, there are mining practices that are responsible. They're just not happening. In our situation with this mine in Canada, it's not happening. But there are mining operations around the world that have voluntarily gone through this assessment and have followed these recommendations from this independent company, independent organization. Because other countries have seen tailings dams fail and people died in mining waste. So we definitely don't want to see that here. But I'm just wondering if you're aware of IRMA, if you're familiar with them, or if they could be required to go through an assessment like that. Thank you.
I haven't heard of it being one that we would be able to require, but I guess that would be a great question if we have the chance to talk to them in person. And I think requirements or asks are exactly part of the process. I would be surprised if they would balk at that, knowing at least the interest and talk about dedication behind the environmental conscientious aspect they're trying to put to this. But words are words until you see actions, right?
Okay. Bing, you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. I was wondering, would it be a very strong possibility of that vein running from Libby back up into this area? And they know that that vein is going up into this area? You know, so that they will probably wanting to drill there and kind of that vein running from there.
Yeah, I would not be able to put anything intellectual to that other than I know that their focus over the past many years has been very specific to the area from Libby to Trout Creek, in that very specific vein from there to Rock Creek on the other side. So I think that's what they've focused on. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but that whole other piece of the Rock Creek side, they put in indefinite hold, is the words that they've told me. It's like not even part of their thoughts right now until they are able to justify the assay work. Back to kind of what Tony was saying, to feed into another full effort of environmental analysis they get there.
Okay. Okay, we have no other comments from councils. So Tony, I would like to suggest that you coordinate with Chad on let's getting a presentation for both culture committees and the elders, and start that process and just go from there.
Yeah, thank you guys, for your time today. I just, I want to make sure, I express that even with meeting with MMC, correct? MMC, that it's going to be a business presenting to the tribe to continue their business. And I'm hoping for that as we move forward, together with this GNA, with this working relationship with Forest Service on their initiative to work with tribal governments and tribal communities, that they understand that they're managing land in trust for tribes treaty rights. And if this is a possibility, even if it's a project that has a possibility to infringe on our treaty rights in the future, that should be high priority for that Forest Service, those managers, to help protect our treaty rights for the future.
Okay. Well, Chad, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to come and visit with us, and we look forward to future visits and dialogue on this specific issue. There's a lot of information out there that we're seeking before we actually comment, but as you probably noted before, we're going to be strongly opposed to this, and but we understand that there is a process that needs to be followed, and we really appreciate you including us, and we look forward to more consultation, especially with the mining representatives. Those are the folks that we really want to have words with. So.
Very good. Well, thank you all for your time, and it sounds like we'll do it again here shortly.
Yep.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
thank you. And thank you all for attending today. Safe travels. Hey, George, could you come up here a minute? George Ducharme, come on down.
They are requesting executive.
Okay, we will go out of regular session into executive with lands. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I said, good afternoon, everyone.